just got dropped back off the Davis Dam. Now I'm gonna start section 6. Probably about a 6-day walk to Lake Havasu City. So I spent 2.5 days in Bullhead City, resting, resupplying, and Bullhead City itself is really spread out. It's got everything a hiker needs. It's just none of it's right there next to each other. Thankfully they have Uber, they have a bus system, but it runs once an hour. Every time I wanted to use it, I seem to be about 5 minutes too late. Pack's feeling pretty heavy on this one. 6 days of food, 7 liters of water. And as you know, in the last section, I walked about 50 miles on my 5 liters of water that I left Searchlight with. So I took 7 on this one. I think at this point, I'm not really super concerned about, you know, just not finding water. You know, at the very least, you always have some other option. I think people get really hung up on the fact that, you know, there might not be water and it's like some sort of dire situation. But when you really start thinking about it, I mean, you're never more than 10 or 15 miles from a road, you know? I might be following a whole mountain range where there are no roads, but if I was just to leave that mountain range east or west, you know, there's a road 10 or 15 miles away. And you'd have to be pretty dehydrated to not be able to cover 10 or 15 miles and get to safety. So you really got to respect not having water, but at the same time, we're capable of doing a lot more than we think we are. And when push comes to shove, you can certainly make do without water and push yourself to get to safety. So I wouldn't let that hold you back from going out and exploring these kind of places and doing a route like this. And you can see over there in the distance, quite a big dust storm being kicked up from those high winds today. 35, 40 mile an hour winds. After walking about 3 hours from Davis Dam, I think it's time for a break. This is one hell of a break spot, in my opinion. Pretty awesome view. That's Bullhead City down there, and I'm just watching this dust storm play out in the distance. Pretty cool. And this rock formation here is called Thumb Butte. I think I can see why. Tell already, this is going to be a pretty good section. A lot of really cool rock formations. A lot of the classic terrain you envision when you think about the Southwest. Really cool. Wow, that's water. It's a decent amount of water. The spring's actually uphill. I was really not expecting any water here at all. The last section was so dry. And that one's maybe 4 inches deep or so. You can see all this scat from burrow, and these are the holes they were digging to dig down and look for water. Another pool upstream. Man, this is a good sign. I'm feeling really good about this. Now I can drink some of the water that I have in my pack, but I have to conserve that 7 liters, you know, and make that last, you know, 4 days or whatever. You can actually start drinking. You know, one thing I haven't had to deal with much on the... Ow! Oh. I just twisted my ankle there. And that's the path I'm shooting for. an awesome view. Bullhead City down there. Glad to leave that behind. But man, everything around here, the rock formations, the colors, just awesome. It's just so colorful. That is beautiful. And this is an Ocatello. I think this is one of the first I've seen, if not the first I've seen on this whole route. And these are definitely more of a Sonoran desert type of plant. So kind of cool, you know. Now you start to see that transition from Mojave to Sonoran. Man, what a cool canyon. This whole area has just been outstanding. I wasn't really paying attention. I was supposed to take a lower route down here and ended up walking a little bit higher than I needed to, quite a bit higher. It's supposed to be way down there. But the bright side is it afforded me this incredible view that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So sometimes I think things just work out for a reason. This view is just incredible. All right, here we go, making bad decisions again right before dark. Walking down this wash. See how far I can get down this thing before before I run out of places to camp. I really like this spot and I'd love to camp here. I just haven't seen anything flat and clear yet. Well, hey, we got a burrow there. I think I got his spot actually, because you can see all the burrow crap. So today's actually Thanksgiving, and it's kind of weird spending it out in the backcountry for the first time on a through hike. Tonight I'm just going to have the same meal I normally have, pepperoni, cheese, and tortilla. But for dessert, Sour Patch Children. The feast on a bounty of Sour Patch Children. Way better than that cranberry stuff that comes in a tube. Man, last night was a long night. 12 hours in your tent, you know. And the wind was whipping for the first half of that, just non-stop. Made it really hard to sleep. I think this is one of the most spectacular canyons I've been in on this whole trip. You can see a big cave right there. overhang kind of thing. Depending how flat that is, that might be a killer camp spot. I think this is like the steepest part. There's a rope. It's strung across the canyon there. I'm not sure what that's all about yet. Yeah, I mean, this all looks fairly manageable. Whether or not there's some sort of pour off or something down there, I don't know. Oh, stabby, stabby. You can see that cable running all the way across this canyon. I guess it could be a zip line. Seems kind of ballsy. I mean, you know, at the end there, just kind of slam right into the rock. Yeah, here's another look at this cable. It's kind of hard to tell exactly what it is. Probably a steel cable. I kind of have the feeling it's something left over from, you know, maybe the mining days. Kind of reached the crux of this canyon, and it's definitely going to be down climbable. I just made it down to the wash. Got a really cool little arch there, little mini arch. You've got to be kidding me. What an incredible canyon. This is just nuts. Bighorn sheep right there. Pretty much leaving the spectacular canyon I was walking through, which was named Secret Pass Canyon. I'm a little sad to be leaving Secret Pass Canyon. Gotta say, I think it was one of my favorite spots this whole route so far. But I don't think that's gonna be it for this mountain range. I think there's gonna be some more gems ahead. And here's the wilderness boundary behind this sign. Now entering the Mount Nutt Wilderness. I was in it briefly yesterday, kind of meandered out of it for a little while, and now I'm re-entering it for quite a while. So no more 4x4 roads, it's just off trail. I'm at a point now where I could go up that pass or up one to the right of this, and both basically lead to the same point. This one looks more scenic, not only to the eye right here, but also on the other side on the map. So we're gonna go right. Something to climb over. It's looking pretty thick on the other side too. A pretty easy climb up that. But now, thorn bush is here to wade through. And these things just snag on my shirt, if not my skin. Ah! Snagging on my, ow, ow, ow. Oh, shoot. this is certainly a more scenic canyon than the other side. Definitely a lot more challenging. And these rock formations now are just really cool. Vertical, just towering. So cool, man. This whole day has just been awesome so far. Not covered that many miles yet, but the beauty of it has just been outstanding. One of the best days on trail so far. It's gonna be one rugged canyon going down. Holy crap. It doesn't look that hard on the map, I'm telling you. It looks fairly, fairly easy going. But then you get here and then you see it with your own eyes and you see this. It's looking a little bit more manageable. Whew. So that's it's a load off your mind, you know. Ah, man, the wash is really, really thick now. It's just really hard to avoid the wash. And now with an overlook like this, you got a little bit of strategy to kind of work with. You can see a burrow path there and a burrow path there. Another burrow there and his little baby. These guys are all over. They really weren't much of a thing in Nevada. I saw a couple piles of scat near Lake Mead. Oh, I don't want to go this way. Find somewhere else. This is by far the thickest canyon I've come across yet on this entire route. Burrows have a path through here. You can see their scat every couple of feet. So I know they're making it through. Yeah, and this is the way now. This stuff's all face high. These things are always more slick than you think too. Oh, this is cool now. Reminds me of something out of Utah. Those kind of colors. There's a little pothole of water down there. Tons of butterflies and bees and stuff. I'm gonna pass on that one. I've got a few liters. And I believe there's a spring ahead. A little bit more water here. It's a good sign. Man, that is cool. The Black Mountains, eh? Man, we call them like the red and orange mountains, or anything other than black. A big orange sheep up there. And then this is just like a little jungle. A jungle with a unclimbable pour off here. This is maybe even less climbable than the other one. Oh, I know where I'm going to go. That bighorn sheep was up there. Climb my way up here, down the canyon on the other side. Now I got this little crack to climb up. And at least here I can get down to the wash. I might even be able to just skirt around. Actually, wow, look at all those trees. Here's my spring. There's almost no doubt there's water there. These things are glowing neon green. Sizable tree right there. It's just a matter of finding where the actual spring is. Just a little bit of water here, a bit of a pool. Let's see if we can find the source. This has got to be the main pool. Pretty clear. Nicely cold too. Flash flood debris here when the spring is really flowing. Yeah, there's actually plenty of water down here, quite a bit. Whole nother pool filled up with leaves and stuff. But for me, I've got to leave this canyon, this wash, got to head up and over this. It's my next obstacle. And that's basically where I'm headed. It's about a 400-foot climb from where I started. I've probably done 100 feet, so really not all that bad. And I've probably seen more balloons out in the wilderness here on this route than I have combined on the rest of my hikes throughout my life. And you know, they end up in places like this. It's pretty sad. Little bit of water there. Oh, and some feces. Okay, final 200 feet or so. They've really funneled me into this climb here. This is a pretty funny sight. Basically a shit cactus. Just imagine the effort those burros went to literally shit right here. And mixed into all this, a bunch of cholla balls. And that peak up there is Mount Nutt. It's the peak this wilderness is named for. I want to climb that. And had a few routes kind of plotted out, you know, and now I can finally get my eyes on them and look at those canyons that I was considering taking up. And, you know, none of them look very good. And this is the beginning of the climb. It should be about a 1,700-foot climb to reach that ridge line. Probably a solid 2 or 2.5 miles up to the top. I just found this on the ground. This is a piece of an old arrowhead. You kind of see the edges, how they were worked here, and this part was chipped off, and you know, maybe this part was the base of it. Pretty cool. First one I've seen on this trip. I think it's going to be a tough one. This doesn't look like anything on the map, but you know, got to go up over this. Stuff's pretty crumbly too. And this pass I came over, last one that I dipped down from, but I got to follow this ridge line up, and I just can't see beyond it, you know, and everything I see just, it doesn't look very easy. Well, now it's time to go up and over. So I'm gonna climb my way up to the top of this and then just follow the ridge line. Be really careful here. Some of this stuff, if I put too much force on it, I'm worried to dislodge it, and I could easily bury myself in the rocks that are above me here. Okay. Let's look back down at the chute I just climbed up. Ironically, it's all flat up here. Is just cliffs on all sides, you know. Keep going up. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. I stumbled on a little bit of a burrow trail, so that's a good sign. It's been a lot of scat along the way, so this must lead somewhere. It's taken me a little bit to call it a burrow path and not a horse trail, because my basin and range trail hike last year through central Nevada, I saw only a handful of burrows, like hundreds and hundreds of horses. So everything was horse trails. Now it's burrow trails. Ugh. Game trail, right? What's the difference? My plan of following that game trail didn't work. It basically drops down somewhere I don't want to go. It takes me way out of the way. I have to backtrack. I pretty much got to climb up this thing to keep going on the path that I don't want to take, and I don't really see a whole lot of really obvious weaknesses or anything at this point. Everything's almost overhanging. All around this corner is another cliff. It's not what I wanted to see. I don't know if I'm going to get up and over this thing tonight, or, you know, at all. So I'm kind of back at the spot on the map that looked like it was easiest to work with. Now that I'm looking up at it, I think I can kind of see some routes. You know, all this stuff is here is sort of ledgy, and it's not as vertical, it's not as overhanging as all this stuff. So I'm going to give this a go. Up and over this kind of little hump here. This GoPro's in my way. All right. That one's just ready to go. There we go. Be gone with ye. All right, that one's gone. It's gone. Oh man, it looks so much worse once you get up to it. Jesus Christ. Kind of see what I'm working with now. It's just fear. All right, you know what? I don't like it. I got a bad feeling about it. I gotta trust my intuition. I gotta head down. It's so awkward with this backpack though. It just does not help. This is loose. That's frightening. All right. Oh man. There's another look back up at that. So I made it to like, I don't know, like right there. Daylight's dwindling. I've got no choice but to head all the way back down to that saddle and camp there. Figure out my next move tomorrow. Well, I am thankful to have this nice clear spot here to put my tent, which wasn't all that far from where I was, which is pretty much, you know, right below the rock wall up there. So yeah, you know, these burros have been using this spot. You can see all their scat, and it's going to be a nice, easy spot for me to put my tent without a whole lot of work. So what I'm going to do now is drop down into this valley, which looks quite a bit easier, except for the top part. There's going to be a really steep gully, and it's kind of why I didn't take that route in the first place. But and it's also going to add, you know, like maybe 1.5 miles of distance. So this route would have been more direct, the one I was going to do last night, but we're on plan B now, so we're going to give this one a shot. And there's a look back up at the rock wall that I tried to climb last night, you know, right at the nose there. Anyways, I'm down in the wash now, and of course it's pretty thick. Kind of one of the reasons why I've been generally trying to avoid these washes and take a higher route is because of this crap. And so yesterday I was walking along, ran into one of these guys literally with my knee. I'm pretty sure I hit the bone right in my kneecap with this. That's a really cool looking canyon there. Steep, narrow. That's not the one I'm shooting for. It's the next one over, which, you know, from here doesn't look as bad. And the route's becoming a little bit more challenging now. The canyon is narrowing. And the spot ahead is the spot on the map that you know, look the steepest and the most challenging. So I'm at that point. It looks really, really thick. And some pretty cool rocks in this wash. Almost looks like water up there dripping off those rocks. Must be why there's all these burro tracks and scat leading this way. This one's not marked on the map. This is pretty decent water, actually. Wow, and even more surprising, there's a rope in place here. You don't really need a rope here, but it just means that somebody was here. And that just boggles my mind. I've seen no cairns, no footprints, no garbage, no signs of anything. And it's also surprising because I think people typically climb Mount Nutt from the other side, from Cottonwood Canyon. It's really surprising to see anybody come at it from here. I mean, got a rope, I guess I'll use it. It's really not needed, but sure. Wow. All right, I've reached another pour off. This one's got a nice, good climbable angle to it, you know. And there was actually a rope in place here, so all kind of tangled up and just sitting here. So I unraveled it, threw it down there for the next guy. And another set of pour-offs here, one to the right, one to the left. A little bit of water dripping down there to the left. I see a rope here on the right. It's probably the way I'm gonna go. This is just such an easy climb. Do not need ropes for this. And for the moment, there's a nice game trail to follow. My pace has been pretty slow for the last day. This feels pretty good. I almost feel like I'm running. And now my route is basically to follow this hillside about here, skirt my way around this stuff, make my way up here, up and over this hill. This chalcedony's basically just everywhere now. Like literally everywhere you step, you just see the whole ground speckled in white. And that is Mount Nutt. And now my route has me going up to, up the hill a little bit here and then kind of contouring around until I hit the ridgeline. I think at this point, I'm gonna skip Mount Nutt. It's not even a high point of the range here. Further down, there's Nutt Benchmark, which is 100 feet higher than Mount Nutt. Three more burrows up there. Howdy, fellas. This is the top of the ridgeline. A couple more burrows up there. I just scared those guys off. And I believe that there is going to be Nutt Benchmark. So that'll be the high point of the whole ridge and I guess the range. Anyways, here's a look back at Mount Nutt, which is going to be on the other side of this ridge line, I guess out of sight. And quite a barren ridge line. It's just nothing here, you know. Huh. Heck yeah. It's a nice view. Woo! So Nutt Benchmark here, 5,210 feet. Should be the highest point in the Black Mountain range. And the highest point of this segment. And really one of the highest points along this entire route for me. Spirit Mountain was the highest, 5,639. And I really only have, you know, a handful of 5,000 foot peaks along the route. And that's Black Mesa there. Looks pretty far off, but that's where I'm going next. Now I'm going to follow this ridgeline here and work my way down this. This ridge walk's not all that bad, it's just now it's getting pretty choked with cactus. It's kind of complicating things a little bit. Big stretch. It might look easy to walk in between these cacti. Then you look down at the ground and you see all these cholla balls just sort of mixed in everywhere. And all you got to do is step on one and then pick one up and then transfer it to the back of your other leg with, you know, because it's stuck to your foot. And that's how you get in trouble with those things. So that's a Nutt Benchmark where I came from. Walked my way down this ridgeline. And now I'm at the base of peak 4975. Thankfully so far I've got a really good game trail to follow. That means these burrows are coming up and over from the other side somewhere. I'm almost thinking it skirts all the way around it and it goes back to that saddle, which is ultimately where I want to go. And that's like best case scenario for me at this point. Yeah, definitely see a path. Oh man, I hate to speak too soon, but really looks like this one's gonna work out. I've only covered like 6 miles today. It's 1:30. So you just kind of need stuff to work out, you know, so you can cover your miles and get where you need to go. This is so far working out. Feels like the steepest part of the whole traverse around the peak, but there is a path. It's going to take me where I'm going. So I'm up on my ridgeline now, and now I just got to follow it this way. I'm just following this ridgeline, and then on the other side of that I'm going to drop down into that canyon, and that's where my Cold Spring station is. And then on the other side, it's starting to look a little bit closer anyway, that's Black Mesa, and that's all the Warm Springs Wilderness on the other side of the road here that runs through this valley. So I'm almost done with the Mount Nutt Wilderness. Man, this ridgeline is just taking forever. Every time I think I'm done with the hard stuff, it kind of gets slow going again. Oh, man, this is just super tedious now. I'm just kind of done with this ridgeline. So now I just got to drop down to this saddle. Then I gotta take this canyon down down out to the road. Now I'm on my little saddle here. I can see what I'm working with coming down. So I got my work cut out for me. I got 2.5 hours until that Cold Spring Station closes. I've already fallen a couple of times. This one's just going to be a slip and slide marathon. Here's another piece of an arrowhead. Missing the bottom half, but this is the point. Definitely an arrowhead. It's pretty cool. Too bad I can't keep it. All right, well, here's the final ridgeline down into Cold Spring Station. Hey, it looks like it's just going to be a kind of a pain the whole way. Some off-trail stuff is easier than others, and this has all been kind of a real pain. What a tedious afternoon, really. Well, just when I thought, you know, I was going to be able to walk this ridgeline all the way down, it's a cholla forest. Even if you manage to avoid all this, it's all on the ground. You could just... I've got no choice really but to drop down into this valley now. It's never easy. Down in the wash now. At least I'm going to avoid that cholla forest. And of course the wash itself is going to be a pain. It's going to want to funnel me left or right. And there's the first saguaro cactus I've seen on this whole route. And just like the Joshua tree is like the iconic symbol of the Mojave Desert, the saguaro cactus is basically the symbol of the Sonoran Desert. Grows here and nowhere else. Parts of Arizona down into Baja, Mexico, and that's it. So super cool to see that first one. Couple potholes here with a little water. Yeah, this is ugh. Ooh, yeah, that's a deep one. Yeah, another skeleton here. See a power line pole up there. It's gonna be the end of the Mount Nutt Wilderness. And there's a road right up there. That's the road I'm shooting for. All right, made it onto the road. Cold Spring Station just up here. Try not to get run over. Cold Spring Station was a great stop. They don't have a whole lot in terms of food, you know, but they got a little bit of chips, ice cream, sodas, Gatorade, a lot of old historic Route 66 stuff. This is apparently the old Route 66 route, so it's kind of cool to be walking that. And the power is actually off when I arrived. Somebody hit a pole down in Oatman, took out the power for the area. And as I was getting ready to leave, the power came back on. And with the power out, the well wasn't working and I wasn't able to fill up my water bottles. But once the power came back on, the well started working again. And was able to fill up with 6 liters of water, so that should be all I need to tackle the entire Black Mesa. Just left the road behind, Route 66, and this dirt road here take me up into the Warm Springs Wilderness. So I really just want to walk another mile or so, find a place to camp, and start tackling that mesa tomorrow. So there's a spring marked on the map here called Cool Spring. And I see water here, and I see flowing water here. And you got half a burrow right here. So, yeah, questionable, that's for sure. She's got some burrow turds underwater. These burrows are just everywhere. Last night, they're stomping around my camp. We actually got little tadpoles swimming around in here. That is cool. Don't expect to see that out in the desert. I just kind of followed this upstream as far as I could. Water looks pretty clear. I know there's a bunch of shit in it, but you know, I drank plenty of water along the CDT that I know had cow shit in it, and the Sawyer filter always did its job. Just chugged 1 liter, filtering 2 more, so I'll have 6 to take with me up on Black Mesa. So Black Mesa, don't know much about it. It's all going to be off trail. I'm hoping for some good burrow trails and stuff. So if there aren't any burrow trails, it's probably going to be pretty slow going. The only thing I got going for me is after I do this roughly 2,000 foot climb to get up to the top, it's going to be flat as hell. Here's the wilderness boundary, now entering the Warm Springs Wilderness. So the challenge now is to find my way up to the top of the mesa. I could try and work my way up here. It's a lot more direct, but it looks a lot steeper. You know, you can kind of see what you'd be working with to gain the ridgeline there. And see, I see a bit of a path here. Kind of leads me to believe that this is going to be my best route. So when walking off trail, one, I don't want to say trick, but something that can kind of confirm you're on the right path is, you know, when you plot your route out, like in this case, I just made a quick alternate route on Cal Topo, drew a line that I thought was probably the most direct up to where I want to go. And so far the whole way I've been walking a burrow path, game trail. So if you're following a game trail on the route that you've plotted out, you know, it kind of confirms that the route that you're wanting to take is probably, I'm not gonna say the best route, but it's probably viable. If animals are taking that route, then they've got the same mindset as you. It's the easiest path of least resistance anyway up to the top. So I'm feeling pretty good about this at the moment. Man, the network of trails up here is nuts. Who needs trail crews when you have tens of thousands of feral donkeys creating trails for you? Run, donkey, run. I'm gonna get you. You're gonna get got. Hello. I'm still here. I just stopped moving. And there's our burrow friends over there. Good thing about these guys, they give me a preview of where the trail is going at least. Well, this is it. This will be the top of Black Mesa. The same burrows Looks like a cattle drive, but it's a donkey drive. Yeah, I'm invisible. I'm standing still now, so you can't see me. That's actually, I think, the high point of Black Mesa there, 40, 42, 55, something like that. So I've got most of the climbing done for today. It's just gonna be the distance now. This is the top of Black Mesa. I'm at 4,270 feet. And this is basically the highest point along the whole mesa, or at least along the route I'm taking. You can kind of see the bulk of the mesa there, and that's what I'll be walking today. Extremely flat, and if it stays like this, this is gonna be a pretty nice walk. Fairly easy going, you know, not a whole lot of cactus, not a ton of rocks, which is kind of key to covering miles. And also further down, I'll be able to walk the edge a little bit too and get more of a distant view. But for now, yeah, pretty cool. Definitely not a lot of shade up here. Time for a break, so it's pretty much the only spot for miles. Well, I guess it was wishful thinking that this whole mesa would be really easy to walk, wide open, not a lot of rocks, not a lot of cactus. Looking ahead, it all looks like a sea of shit, really. You know, and then the other thing, I was hoping for game trails, but you know, places like this that are so wide open and flat, you know, there's really no one trail. They have so many options to choose from. They're not all going to take the same path, so there probably won't be any trails. This might end up being a tedious day, just like yesterday was up on the Mount Nutt ridgeline. So it's a little easier to walk again at the moment. I think it's just going to be a matter of on and off. Yeah, I'll say one thing though. This is about as wild as it gets. I mean, there's just nothing out here. No footsteps, no cairns, no garbage. Nobody comes out here to hike this. So I'm walking the top of this mesa, but alongside the mesa is just a maze of all these canyons. And this is one of them. Pretty impressive. I thought about, you know, maybe making the route meander through some of these canyons, but for some reason the idea of just doing a continuous traverse of the top of the mesa sounded the most appealing. So I'm at 3857 in elevation on a peak called Black Mesa, on a landform called Black Mesa in the Black Mountains. Here's another Native American artifact. This would be one of the tools that they would use to skin animals. It's sharp on one side here, and then the other side is meant to put your finger here, you know, as a comfortable way to kind of, you know, work at the skin and you know, remove the skin from the carcass. So that's a pretty cool find. Well, just when you think you're someplace where few people have gone, find something like this. Looks like that's been here a while. What is that though? What is that? What is this? Is this part of a plane? I think it is. I think it's part of a plane crash, yeah. Fuel probe. Oh wow. This is a plane crash site. Sometimes these plane crashes are known on the internet. You know, you can go out to a plane crash and see it, but to stumble upon one is, it's kind of a somber feeling, you know. You know, we hear about tragedies all the time on the news, and I guess when you hear about stuff like that in that way, there's definitely a disconnect between, you know, you and the story and the people involved. It's just another news story, you know. But when you come across something like this in person, unexpectedly kind of shakes you, you know. some of these last moments were right back there on this mesa. And you can only imagine the sheer terror, you know, when that plane went down. And, you know, nothing I can do except go about my life and make the best out of my days. You never know what'll happen. You know, one day you wake up and that could be your gravestone, your memorial. And the valley floor is maybe a mile off now. Really looking forward to reaching that. And hiking like this over all these rocks and boulders is just very mentally taxing. You've constantly got to be looking down at your feet, making sure you don't twist an ankle like I did earlier by stepping on the wrong rock. And that cluster of trees right there is going to be Warm Springs. I wouldn't mind taking a dip in it. It's not full of burrow shit. Fat chance of that. Man, there's tons and tons of burrows here. I've probably seen like 20 or 30 run away now. So it's going to be pretty nasty. You can see there used to be a fence here, and then, oh yeah, there's like 7 or 8 more of them over there. These burrows are a real nuisance, to be honest. Oh my God, it smells terrible. Glad I don't need water. Feels good just to sit down in the shade for a minute. Been in direct sunlight all day. Stepping over all those rocks and just so mentally taxing. Ankles are sore, knees are sore. I just need a few minutes to rest. And this marks the end of the Warm Springs Wilderness. Hopefully the beginning of a halfway decent road. I'm kind of tired of tripping over these rocks. Looking forward to being able to just walk for a little bit without thinking. There's one thing Arizona is known for. It's amazing sunsets. The sun has gone down. I'm looking for a place to camp. Of course, it's nothing but these rocks everywhere. There's just nowhere to camp. So I found this spot right next to the road. There's a couple rocks here. I just pulled one up. And if I can pull up 1 or 2 more here, I've got myself a campsite. And this wash is much easier than the road. Unfortunately, the wash, I can't really follow it for that long. It doesn't take me where I want to go. I'm gonna have to leave it here pretty soon, but hey, for now, it gets me off that rocky road. It's almost comical how much easier it is to walk off trail here than it is to just walk the road. It's almost like they're making the road bad on purpose to make it like a challenging 4x4 trail or something like that, because I just don't understand how a road could be worse than off trail, you know? If it's a road, shouldn't it be like easier than not a road? It just makes no sense. There's actually a vehicle parked over there. It's either somebody camping or potentially the railway. There's a railroad track that runs through here. Maybe I'll walk by and say hello. How's it going? Wasn't expecting to see a picnic table out here.
I made that about 2 years ago.
Cool.
I didn't expect to see a hiker out here.
I figured that. It's kind of why I walked by, just for the shock value.
I appreciate that.
What are you up to here?
Shooting, drinking whiskey, having a good time.
Cool. Is this like your plot of land, or?
Yeah, it's 40 acres kind of between these posts right here.
Oh shoot, sorry, I didn't realize this was private.
No, it's not fenced off or nothing.
Is this like a claim, like a mining claim, or?
Nope, it came up for sale. I had the money, so I bought it.
Cool.
And I like to come out, what I did last night, sit next to a fire.
Cool.
Drink whiskey.
Yeah, not a bad place to do it. I came from Vegas like 4 weeks ago, so I've been walking through.
From Vegas?
Yeah, I just got done walking the Black Mesa there, and I walked the you know, Mount Nutt and all that stuff. I came from Davis Dam a few days ago.
Okay.
So.
Well, hell, I'm Dwayne.
Hey, I'm Eric. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. That's actually badass. You're athletic. I don't suppose you care for a snort, do you?
If it was a little later in the day. If you caught me at 6 p.m., I'd say sure, but.
This way again, man. You're welcome to the fire pit and the table.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, cool little spot out here. I was not expecting this. Well, those cheeseburgers are calling my name, so.
I hear you.
Well,
safe travels.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Dwayne. Take care. Now this is a cool find. I've been walking a lot. This is the first quartz crystal I've seen like this. This is a pretty good size. Okay, I just found another. Clean this up, and it actually looks like it's got some points on the top. It's pretty heavily weathered. It's pretty far down the wash, but this is a good indicator of a much greater deposit farther upstream. Very cool banding on this one. Yeah, you got some like druzy quartz kind of thing here going on, and then this amazing banding on this one. And this is one of the busiest railways in the entire West. You know, California is just right around the corner there. It's basically non-stop. Every 5 minutes you get a train coming by. It's extremely busy, double stacked like you see here. I'm ready to cross the track here, and another train comes by. Up and over we go. Right up on the other side of this hill, there's a Pilot gas station, Love's Travel Center, a Wendy's, and a Carl's Jr. It's got my choice of lunch. I'm gonna get a shower and pick up any other supplies I need to finish this section. But most importantly, lunch. Civilization. I just had lunch at Carl's Jr. Got the double monster thick burger combo. Got a shower. They gave it to me for free. They probably felt sorry for how dirty I looked. And finally, some good color. This is a copper mine here, so you start seeing these blues and green colors, which are malachite and azurite. And yeah, here's some really bright looking blue. And even this stuff isn't really that great. It stands out. I'm gonna explore this mine for a little bit and see what I can find. Man, just look at the color on this one. Basically got a pocket full now. Well, I'm pretty distracted now. Just kind of bouncing around on all these little hills, piles of tailings, finding all sorts of really cool, interesting rocks. And this is one of the things I was really looking forward to about this hike, was visiting some of these old mines. And it's one of the hobbies that I've really been getting into other than hiking. So to be able to combine, you know, hiking and rock hounding is quite a bit of fun. So I've just reached the boundary for the Havasu Wilderness. It's also a national wildlife refuge. And anything that says national has a whole bunch of rules and regulations. Basically all the fun stuff you want to do, caves, sinkholes, tunnels, mines, are closed. You know, all the stuff that I would want to do. And then the worst news, no camping. Now, I've got 2 hours of daylight left, and I had planned on camping on a pretty awesome ridgeline. It's not all that far away, but I got to camp on the other side of this boundary now, somewhere. So I'm just going to camp as close to the boundary as I can get. And I left my pack and stuff back there. Trying to use the last hour or so of daylight to look for some rocks. Something I really haven't had a whole lot of time to do on these long trails. In fact, it's something that pretty much never happens. Just have the luxury to tool around for an hour, you know. It's always walk, 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 you know. So in a way, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess. Now I can just enjoy a leisurely evening looking for rocks. Got a hole in the ground here. Look at the shine on that one. That, I don't know if you call it metallic luster. Well, today is day 6 since I've left Bullhead City. Hopefully I'll reach Lake Havasu City later this evening. But for now, it's time to go climb some mountains. So I'm headed up there. Only information I could find online about it was just a reference. They called it Have a Super Peak. As in, you know, Havasu, have a super day. And I'm gonna head up there and walk it. Up we go. Pretty easy climb. It's been like a 5-minute climb. I'm almost up to the top. That's kind of the cool thing about these peaks in this area, is they're really only a couple 100 foot of ascent. And here's the top. Oh, nice. The Colorado River down there, a little bit of green for once. It's looking into California. And there's a look up at the ridgeline that I'm about to walk. Dip down off the crust for a little bit, kind of working my way around. I guess some of the more jagged parts of it. And now I'm headed back up. Back up to the top. Some good grippy rock too. It's like Velcro rock. Oh, oh, look at that. Woo! And this impressive peak here is called Gold Dome Peak. Just awe-inspiring, really. Just incredible. I mean, it looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. So you've got this jagged peak here, and if you look over in this direction, it's the town of Needles, California, on the other side of the Colorado River there. And that's why the town of Needles is called Needles. It's because of these mountains right behind me. Fun fact. Yeah, cliffy. Super grateful for this grippy rock at the moment. Otherwise, this could be a little dicey. Well, we're close enough to the top. Might as well just head up there. Oh. All right, another knife edge. This is what I'm talking about. Camping's not allowed here, but if you were going to camp, check out this cowboy camping spot under this little overhang here, right on the edge of this cliff, with a view of Gold Dome. Well, the day's halfway over and I've barely gone anywhere. This ridge is just too awesome to just walk right by and blow through, you know? You can't even dream up stuff like this. This is just incredible. So it looks like that's the end of the ridge walk for me. Just took this little chute down. But it looks like all this is pretty easy to manage. So I'll find my way down off the ridge line, back down to the valley floor. Oh, that's some crazy rock formation right there. Wasn't expecting any of this stuff, especially not the way it looked on the map. Yeah, just be able to down climb this and hopefully don't get stuck on any of these other sections down here. It's kind of precarious. Oh shit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that one's not gonna happen. It's 40 foot overhanging. Oh, shit, man, this one was supposed to be easy. All right, so yeah, that's where I came down. I had to work my way all the way back around all this stuff down to here. Now on this pretty steep slope. Whew. And that incredible rock face there, that's what I was walking earlier, the top of that. Pretty cool perspective to see it from below. Footholds and stuff here. There we go. Oh man, whew, this is precarious. Only 5 hours daylight left. Still got a long ways to go. Really gotta hustle now. Just gonna climb some other peaks, but I don't have time. On this side we have a 40 foot pour off, no go. And on this side, there's no problem. There's always one last pour off to climb down. You know, I can get down to like the last point and then it's like a jump down. Looks like good footholds mostly the way down. It's just the handholds aren't really that great up top. There we go. Now I should be good. We down. River looks so inviting. It's probably cold, but man, a swim right now just sounds so good. I wanted to climb that peak, but you know, I just don't have the time. Already running a little short on daylight here, so it's gonna make a beeline for the highway, and should get there pretty close to dark as it is. down in the wash now. It's just a slog now. You know, a couple miles, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles or something. I figured there's a shower, a bed, probably a pizza and a 2-liter of Coke or something, you know, waiting for me tonight when I get to my motel. So that's my motivation at this point. Just stopped here on this rock and took a break. I stood up and check it out, a snake skin. That's pretty cool. It's the first one I found on this whole trail. Well, I saw one non-poisonous snake sunning himself, but that was it. Now I gotta find my route up this. Usually these sort of trickle out and ends up just being a pick your path kind of thing. Just beyond the little notch there, you could see Lake Havasu City. So it's kind of cool to go over that last pass and finally see civilization down there in the distance. Pizza and cheeseburgers await. Of course, you go over that one final hill, you expect it to be easy down to town, but of course it's not. It's looking quite rugged. So I think what we're going to do is kind of skirt this hillside, avoid all the canyon stuff, drop down on the other side. Just slipped and fell. One of these rocks just gave out. Busted up my hand a little bit. It's gonna be a little sore here. Of course, I'm bleeding now too. This is my snot rag too, by the way. No shame. You're a dirty piece of hiker trash. You are a dirty piece of hiker trash. So here's a dilemma. My route I had planned is going to go up this wash just a little bit and then up and over a small saddle that would take me down to another wash. The reason I did that is because it was going to avoid what looked like a pretty steep canyon coming up ahead here. But I see a cairn. So, you know, cairn's got to mean that the canyon is probably doable. So I'm going to follow the cairn. And I hope I don't regret this. You better be right, Karen. Looks like this is where the canyon starts to narrow. This is where it's going to get interesting. So this canyon is pretty impressive. You'll notice these sawtooth-like formations sticking out of the side of the rock there. That's pretty interesting. Then over here, pretty cool cave. Very interesting. Looks like the canyon's opening up now. Also looks like there might be a pour off or something there. So my canyon just led me here to the end. You can see these anchors and a big pour off. Let's see, what are we looking at here? 100 foot, 75 foot. That one's not going to happen. So the alternate routes skirt around the side of this, or skirt around the side of this, which looks a lot more manageable. I think that's going to be my route off this thing. Stay away from the edge though. Maybe hug the side. All right, it's like the final obstacle. It's not really a very big one though. I think it's, well, let's see that until I get around this. All right, cool, that ledge worked out. Just followed my way around that ledge. Avoided the 100-foot depth drop. Now I've got a route that's gonna lead me down at least to the bottom. I'm gonna follow one of these washes and get out to the main road here. About an hour of daylight. Down in the wash, out of the canyon. Still about 2.5 miles from the main road though, so that's going to take about all the daylight there is left. It's going to be pretty close. I'll try and jog a little bit of this, as long as the gravel isn't too deep. I want to be sitting out on that road at dark. One last look at the Havasu Wilderness. All right, cheeseburgers. I'm really glad to end this section on a positive note with that badass canyon earlier. And, you know, especially for that being a spur of the moment thing, you know, I think that was really cool, just following those cairns and then having it be as cool as it was. But overall, this section has been, had some of the best scenery, I think, of this whole route. The Secret Pass Canyon area was really cool. And then today, the Havasu Wilderness, the Needles, Gold Dome, and all that, and that unnamed peak, I guess Havasu Peak, if you want to call it Havasu Peak. Man, one of the most awe-inspiring views I think I've ever had in my life. And not ashamed to admit, there's a couple moments I think it brought a tear to my eye. It was just such an incredible place. It's almost like a dream. It didn't even seem real. And sometimes I think it can be a struggle to find the words to really do the places you visit justice. And in this case, I can only hope the camera captured even half of what the Havasu Wilderness meant to me. Oh, here it is, the main highway. Just got an Uber on the way to come get me, so I don't have to try and hitch. Look at that sunset though, huh?